Hey guys, Reef Spy here. Today I'm going to give an update on my 180 gallon Reef. First, I'm just going to go over the water parameters that I currently have in this tank, and then give a tour through all of the equipment which I have running to keep this tank going. So stay tuned. For all the basic parameters, I'm just using API test kits. As you can see, I've written down the current readings that I've gotten. So running pH at 8.2, that's usually hard to read. It's usually between 8.2 and 8.4. I think it's probably 8.3. The color's kind of in between those two. But for the rest of those tests, they're pretty spot on with what's on the card. And I've gone ahead and purchased a HANA checker because I know that's a lot more accurate. And the results confirm what the API test kit was showing, which is 0 phosphates. Some of the more important tests that you'll need to perform on your reef tank is the calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium. Having these in the proper quantities is quite important to coral health and coral growth. So for those tests, I have went ahead and purchased Salford test kits. These are pretty good kits in my opinion. I was originally using API kits for alkalinity and calcium, but they don't really seem to have the same degree of accuracy or precision that these two kits or three kits can produce. I'm not sure if API makes a magnesium kit, but they certainly do have a calcium and an alkalinity. So I just went ahead and used all these kits, and here's the results that I got. So for magnesium, I'm running 1230. Alkalinity tested at 8.15 DKH, and my calcium tested at 460. So those numbers are pretty good, I think. They're right in the range that you want them to be. I will say my alkalinity is probably a little bit lower than I would like. I'm trying to get that up to a target of about 9.0. The reason being, I've been historically low on alkalinity, and I've been slowly trying to get that to creep up. And one of the reasons why that it's been a bit low, I think, is A, I've got a lot of stony corals in there that is just sucking it up, and B, I was not dosing enough into my tank. I have bulk reef supply dosers in there, and I had them programmed to be dosing, I think it was about 88 milliliters of alkalinity and calcium each day. But somewhere along the way, I screwed up, and I was dosing more calcium than alkalinity. I had increased it, by about 20 milliliters a day, and I had set the timer for the calcium to do it. But for some reason, the timer on the alkalinity, it didn't save, or I didn't do it. I don't know. So for about a month, I was dosing 20 milliliters more calcium than I was alkalinity. So I noticed my calcium was a bit high and my alkalinity was a bit low, so I figured that out, and I'm slowly correcting that. I guess the only other relevant information is my salinity. I just tested was at about 1.026 specific gravity, and my temperature currently is around 78 degrees. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the sump and show you the equipment I have running down there. Before we get into the sump area, I want to take a minute and talk about the stand. This is a custom-built stand that I made, and it is based upon plans that you could find on Reef Central by a user named Rocket Engineer. And I am more than happy with this, the way that this turned out. It is completely sturdy, and it just really looks good in my opinion. Rather than go with conventional doors, I opted to go with a sliding door mechanism. And the reason that I went this direction is because I wanted to be able to easily remove these doors so I could get full access to the sump. And I did not want to have any sort of center post in my way. So as I remove these doors, it gives me full 100% access to the sump area. This video is going a little bit longer than I originally intended, So what I think I'm going to do is split this into 2 parts. And I'm going to end part 1 here as we get into the sump, and I'll pick up again in the next video where I can detail all of the equipment that's down here and give an overview of how everything works together and how this keeps my tank running. So I hope you enjoyed this part 1 of my tank equipment tour, and I look forward to reading your comments, and please subscribe if you're interested in part 2, which will be coming up in the next day or 2. Thanks a lot, and I'll catch you next time.